In Touhou, as you may have guessed, many of the girls can fly. Not only that, each one of them have unique powers. Sometimes these powers can be seemed overpowered if you apply them in combat, which is what this list will discuss. So in this episode of Touhou Talk/Theory, I'll be counting down my top 10 picks on what abilities I feel would be the most useful/powerful in terms of combat. To note, it's just the powers, not the character themselves. Many of the cast are yokai, who are both physically and magically powerful, which just makes their powers much more intense. The thought process is, if we were to possess these abilities, how much would they aid us in fighting, in either rendering them unconscious or killing them? Your pick. Just so we're clear. So without further ado, let's begin the top 10 Touhou powers for combat. Number 10. When you're fighting someone, the best way to achieve victory would be, well, hit said opponent. But what if you were capable of preventing your target from doing so by creating illusions for them? Raisin's manipulation of insanity will help you there. Raisin's ability allows you to manipulate all kinds of ways. The moment your opponent lays eyes on you, you'll be able to mess their brains a bit by making them hallucinate or inducing madness. You can also make them apathetic and depressed, which would be an added bonus when it comes to tackling your foe. Again, the only weakness would be if they didn't look into your eyes. Why does it sound like the Sharingan from Naruto, minus the copying potential? Number 9. When engaging your enemy, it's always nice to have information on them. Knowing how they fight and or their weaknesses can easily turn the tides in your favor. Hell, even this badass dude named Sun Tzu said this: if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the results of 100 battles. So, what would happen if you were capable of reading their mind? Satori's ability to read the mind can easily make your life in battle much easier. If you know what your opponent is going to do, you can anticipate their moves and counter them. You also eliminate the element of surprise, making your encounter much more safer. Plus, you could always read their deepest and darkest secrets just to mess with them. Number 8. When it comes to size, it can certainly help. Being bigger and or taller can give you more strength when it comes to striking your enemy. What if you were 50 feet tall like a bloody titan? That would definitely make battles much more easier for you. Suika is able to manipulate density and sparseness. With this ability, you can either increase your size or even decrease it to the point where you can become a mist. You're also capable of splitting yourselves into many mini versions of yourself, just to add more into the annoying factor. The ability would allow you to compress your attack and increase your power. You're also able to draw your opponents into something like a black hole. A black, bloody hole. During chapter 9 of Walden Horn Hermit, while Suika was a mist, she was capable of knocking out yokais in one hit. But I'm not too sure if it happened because of the power alone or because Suika was an Oni and they have incredible physical strength. Even if you take that out, this ability has more than enough features to help you win. Number 7. In a battle, it always helps to be faster and stronger than your enemy. It gets better if you can buff those to absurd levels. Not only is Byakuren's buffing magic boost those mentioned earlier, she can also increase her 5 senses. Being able to see, hear, and smell your enemy at a higher level is an added bonus. The only question would be how much was one capable of boosting themselves. In UFO, one of Byakuren's spell card, Superhuman Byakuren Hijuri, this increased her speed to such a point where she was able to outspeed Fantasy Seal. Fantasy Seal! That's pretty fast. Imagine combining the boosted strength plus speed, then hitting your enemy. You might even become Saitama at that point. One punching your opponent does make life much easier. Number 6. This next ability is probably the most vague in this entire list, but I want to discuss it as it does have potential in its usage. So Yarormyr has the ability to manipulate fate, as we've heard in the series. The problem is that we've never seen a good use of this ability. If the power was as potent as it sounds, it would mean you would never lose, as you can manipulate the events where it would be favorable to you. But we have seen Yarormyr lose a bit. A counter to that could be due to the spell card rules that Yarormyr isn't allowed to use her ability. It's like how Reimu is not allowed to easily win any battles by using her ability to float out of reality. You can understand why I was hesitant about putting this on number 6 or even on this list. But let's assume this ability was restricted only because of the spell card rules. If you had this power and it worked in the way that you would always come out advantageous due to fate, I can imagine no matter what your opponent would throw at you, you'd win due to fate. Hell, let them bring an army and you'll still make it out on top. Number 5. With these 5 abilities, we're going to be trekking into the overpowered territory. We know one of Yukari's signature ability is the usage of her gaps, or her manipulation of boundary. This power is considered to be godlike for the limitless potential it has, as long as you know what to do, that is. To make things simple, its application in combat is vast. For one, you can open a gap near an opponent and punch them through it while being in a safe distance. And if they somehow manage to get close to you, you can create a gap and their attacks will miss completely. You can take this one step further and summon a gap on top of them, dropping whatever items you feel like at the time. Hell, you can gap them off a cliff and voila! They're dead, motherfucker. This ability is so powerful due to its unlimited offensive and defensive features. Just gotta be creative, that's all. Worst comes to worst, you can always throw a bloody train at them. Number 4. Depending on how tough your opponent is, the battle can be either quick as hell or long as shit. But what if you were able to eliminate time itself? Ridiculous, don't you think? Well, look no further as Sakuya's ability does just that. With the power to stop time itself, there's a pretty high chance you'll be winning that fight. You can't exactly win if time itself is saying, "Fuck you, you don't get to move." It's pretty self-explanatory how powerful an ability this is. The only downside will be how long you're able to keep time frozen. Even if it was a short time, you only need to freeze time for a small amount for you to land the finishing blow. Number 3. In the event you're fighting someone and you just want them dead quickly, wouldn't it be nice if you could just wish them dead and they actually die? Like the Death Note, minus the writing part. If you want that, Yuyuko's ability is right for ya. Let me detail you how this ability works. This is the ability to, without exception and without permitting any resistance, end the life of any living being, whether it be human or yokai. Well, shit! No amount of resistance gear is gonna save your ass there. One look and say goodbye to your life. It's even easier than stopping time as you probably don't even need to move at that point. Don't forget, even if your opponent was a yokai, not even they're saved from this power. Number 2. This next ability is similar to Yuyuko in a sense, but has more versatility, which is why I put it higher than Yuyuko's. Flaundra's ability is destroying absolutely anything and everything. That's a lot of things she can destroy, alright? Let me explain how it works. By moving the eye of the object where the tension is highest, and by attacking this eye, she is able to destroy the target. She is able to move the eye of anything into the middle of her hand. Then she pours her power into it, or in other words, she crushes the eye and unconditionally destroys the target with just a squeeze. Now imagine being able to destroy anything by just crushing this eye. Really handy, I must say. Now mention versatility. Now Yuyuko's power is amazing, no doubt, but it only works on living things, while Flaundry destroys anything. Let's say a dumb kappa decides to send a machine at ya and they didn't know you had Flaundry's power. You just need to squeeze and boom, bitch, it's gone, whereas Yuyuko wouldn't be able to do so. That's a good reason why Flaundry might not have been in the fighting game, as much as I wish she was in it. Number 1. This next ability is unique as it doesn't exactly increase your strength, destructive, nor creative ways to handle your opponents. The trade-off is that you can't exactly die. Moku, Kaguya, or Aaron's immortality is what I'm suggesting. I've discussed how the Horai elixir made them an immortal, a true immortal. In the beginning of this list, I explained that all these abilities were ranked based on being able to either incapacitate or more likely kill your enemy, and being an immortal shuts off the killing part immediately. As a human with immortality, we're not going to have any sorts of magical powers like Moku or Kaguya have, but it doesn't mean we're not going to be deadly in our own right. Depending on your determination in killing, this power will likely be the best as no matter what they throw at you, you'll come back. And eventually they will tire out, either from physical exhaustion or magical if you are somehow fighting a yokai and such. That's when you strike them. Just to note, you will still feel the pain when you die. But if your hatred is at such a level, then you'll be able to excuse the pain to achieve your goal. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of Touhou Talk / Theory. Again, these are just my personal picks. I didn't do the math and such to see which ability would be optimally be the strongest in terms of incapacitating or killing. I'll leave that for my homeboy Glenn to figure that out. So, what abilities do you think would be the best? Would you like to manipulate fate so you can always win your battles, plus the lottery? Would you want to destroy everything by squeezing the supposed eye? Or do you prefer the immortality route and beating the living shit out of them when you get the chance? If you guys felt other powers should have been chosen, leave it in the comments below so I can read it and see what I missed out. Like always, please give it a like and subscribe, or else one of these girls will come and kill me. And the prospect of being annihilated by 10 different people doesn't exactly make me happy. Like always, this is Magi and thanks again for watching.